Hello everyone, this is Stephen Hewer with Synergistic Nutrition. I would like to speak to you on the subject today of One World Whey, the new technologically enhanced version of it. So what is this thing called technologically enhanced that is veiled in secrecy? Well, it's veiled in secrecy for us too that actually work here at Synergistic Nutrition, in that I cannot give you the technical details because the inventor is not going to disclose them to us for obvious reasons. There is a desire for him to maintain his exclusivity of something that he invented or discovered. And so as much as you might like to know, and we would as well, we don't know the details. All I can tell you is some of the general descriptions that I've been given. That basically, a good analogy would be in the Masaru Emoto experiments on water, where you could change water's structure and what it does to the body based upon the memory and energy that the water holds. And that's the closest analogy that makes sense to my mind that I'm giving to you to use as a way of conceiving perhaps what is being done. Whereby the energy that is being used to process this One World Whey is imparting to One World Whey frequencies that have an ability to improve the life force of the body, improve the energy flow through the meridian channels, and thus improve quality of life in all areas, biochemically, physically, mentally, so that you have a life-changing experience from consuming a whey protein powder. That's what many people are reporting to us. Personally, when I first took my first drink of this latest batch of the strongest technologically enhanced product that we've produced to date, when we got it in 2.5 or so months ago, it was quite profound. After 20 minutes of it being in my body, I was working more productively, had an upbeat, better mood, more physical energy, more cheerful for 5 hours. And it's done that to me numerous times when I take it, when I'm truly hungry. I recommend taking, as in anything, only eating when you're truly hungry. And so when you're truly hungry for protein, I mix it with water, and chocolate is my favorite, and the results have been really exceptional. Yes, the One World Whey has been technologically enhanced when it was first made in 2010, and the technology has become stronger. So over the last year, the technological improvements that have been developed by the inventor have been imparted into this latest batch, so that now 70% or so of everyone that takes it, and I think that this energetic effect varies dependent upon the state of your body chemistry. And when the more ready your body is, the cleaner it is, and the more ready it is for nourishment, the more dramatic and noticeable this effect will be in terms of this sense of well-being, this sense of uplifted energy that goes on for about 5 hours after it's kicked into your body. The other thing is that One World Whey is truly a non-denatured product, and there are many products out there that are, claim the same thing. I've spoken to the inventor. I know some things that, let's put it this way, it's truly non-denatured, and the effects are apparent. So when you take the energetic properties that are put into the product, you're making part of the energy equation of human health solved, in that all health issues are part related to an energy deficiency. When you study cell energy levels, you'll find out that a healthy cell functions at like 80 to 100 millivolts, and that when your cell's energy drops below the 80 millivolts, it starts to become sicker, to the point that when it comes down to about, I think it's 30 or 40 millivolts, it's been a while since I've read that statistic or fact, that this cell becomes a tumor cell. So electrical and energetic potential of a cell is another key factor that you want to address. And being able to take a supplement into the body that energetically can lift your vitality and your energy level in your body is quite an amazing thing, rather than just pure molecules of protein and amino acids that also have inherently their own beneficial properties. So the product that we have here is truly non-denatured, processed in a special manner to ensure that the shapes of the proteins and amino acids retain the shapes that nature gave them. And as I've said before, amino acids, there's 20 of them that make up all of the proteins that create the human body or create all different plant or animal structures. And those different amino acids have to retain the shape that nature gave them in order for your body to use them to create human tissue. If you heat them to too high of a level, then the amino acids become twisted, bent, and the body cannot use that as a building block. It looks at it as a toxin, and now it basically burns your liver and kidneys for elimination. And that is a problem in America and in the bodybuilding community, is that the people are consuming excess amounts of protein, partly because they're getting denatured proteins and their body gets so little non-denatured proteins from their cooked protein source that they have to eat more to make up for that. Partly this is due to a mineral deficiency in the soil. So this mineral deficiency in the soil was figured out a long time ago by a doctor of soil science, that basically plants' mineral needs are 80% calcium and 20% trace elements. And that same ratio applies to animals and humans. But because soils have become demineralized and are not properly calcified and not properly full of trace minerals and the necessary other organic matter and microorganism life to ensure that the whole matrix of soil fertility is operating, you end up with both commercial and organic foods that are deficient. Organic is clean, it's free of pesticides, it has higher nutrient levels and higher mineral levels, but it's still not optimal. And when you combine that our bodies are experiencing huge amounts of free radical damage from all the different toxins and stressors in our environments and in our lives, from electromagnetic smog, smart meters, cell phones, to the heavy metals we inhale, to all kinds of different toxins that are causing cellular damage, and thus the body has to upregulate the rate in which it creates proteins. It has to get the liver to produce more protein. The majority of your body tissues repair proteins come from your liver, so your liver has to do much more work to produce these proteins, but it can't without the calciums. And so this whole thing of being able to efficiently repair your body is a mineral dependent equation as well. Most people don't have the adequate calciums in their diet. There's a lot of misunderstanding on this subject, and I can help people with this, but I need to know your urine and saliva pH test as a foundation. There's other things to know, but that's a basis, a first step. So you can work with our office and we can help you with that if you want to go further. But one of the reasons that people eat more protein in America than other parts of the world is because we are more calcium deficient and our bodies are less able to make protein as a result. So our bodies require 40% more protein to compensate for the inefficient protein synthesis going on at the level of the liver and the level of your cells. So protein excess is a problem. And when you have protein excess, you have excess nitrate nitrogen and urea nitrogen and protein salts in your body that can be read in your urine. And when they're beyond certain numbers in your urine, you end up with these salts salting out. They will precipitate out into your tissues. That's what causes the hardening of the arteries. That's what causes the failure of your kidneys. That's what causes the sclerosing of your tissues and the hardening of your tissues as a person ages. And basically turning your body into a stiff, immobile, inflexible tissue structure. So this excess protein is a problem, and more people have been led to believe more is better, and that's not true. If you go to the Asian countries of the world, if you go to East India, and you go to China and Japan, the number one food that they consume in their diet is rice. And those races are a relatively thin race. There is, industrial commercialization foods in their culture now too, and there's a higher incidence of disease growing in those regions, but needless to say, their traditional eating habits, they're mostly a thin race people, and carbohydrates are very high in their diet. So I'm stressing this to basically show, and they're very healthy people by comparison to Americans. I know the Okinawan Japanese have a lifespan of approximately 80 plus years in great health, free of basically virtually all disease, and they're getting adequate calciums in their diet. They are eating fish and rice in huge amounts. So more protein is not necessarily better. The right amount of protein is right, and then you have to make up for your body's inefficient protein synthesis by taking the proper amounts and types of calciums. Imagine taking the right, proper amounts of calciums, increasing your protein synthesis efficiency by 40%. Imagine what that would do for you if you're a fitness buff, or if you're just trying to regain your health. It's phenomenal. Your health can improve dramatically. Mine has. So, One World Whey delivers to your body a non-denatured whey protein complexed with the calcium, the magnesium, the phosphorus, the potassium, the naturally occurring minerals in it, so that you have a whole food type product that addresses mineral chemistry and protein chemistry. We did lower the protein content a little bit to increase the carbohydrate content a little bit, and that's favorable because whenever we come to a meal, we have low blood sugar prior to eating that meal. And we're basically just addressing that sugar need a little bit, so the brain is fed some of the glucose so that it's kind of satiated, so that the proteins coming into the diet from the whey are, you could say, not converted into glucose, but instead are used as protein and amino acid sources for the body's tissue repair needs. And also for flavor. If you look at the design of the body, in that your palate, your tongue, has a dominance of taste for sweet and carbohydrate over all the other flavors. What is there? Sweet, sour, bitter, salt, and I think spicy. Those 5 tastes. And that the number one taste bud, the most dominant taste bud we have is for carbohydrates. Now, that's not a license for us to go and eat cakes and pies and Pop-Tarts and sugar, refined sugar, but I'm talking about the natural sugars in nature. And even the natural refined sugars, the sucanat, the honey, the maple syrup in the right amounts. These things have never been harmful to people. And you can go back and you can look at the historical usage of grains in Europe, whether that's Rome and the wheat and how it fueled the energy needs of the armies for all day long hikes and then engage in battle and still win their battles. And this was written about, that the Roman armies wrote that they got more endurance and energy and stamina from a handful of wheat powder than they did from eating meat. And this was, of course, the quality of the wheat, the old world style, probably the einkorn wheat, not the current hybrid stuff today. You look at every culture in Europe, and there's either barley, rye, potatoes, wheat, some form of a starch that was a dominant food in the diet. So long as agriculture was done correctly, this created health for people's bodies. The minerals that are present in those vegetable foods and grain foods ended up sustaining them and causing correct activation of codons and correct organ development and correct health in their body and their protein synthesis. So carbs are not the demon that people have made them out to be. In America, what we have is a problem with the swinging of the pendulum, where back in the 50s, when people had hardening of the arteries and arterial plaque showing up, and the conclusion was this was caused by cholesterol in the diet, and that cholesterol was found in the arteries, so it must be the cause of plaque in the arteries. Well, that conclusion is really well understood that was wrong, that all that's going on is that, again, when you have a salting out of these protein salts in excess, hardening the arteries, creating plaque buildup in the arteries, free radical damage caused on the lining of the arteries from chlorine in your drinking water, to cooked vegetable oils, to homogenized milk, to smoking cigarettes, to drinking alcohol. All these things cause a damage to the arteries and cause plaque to build up in the arteries. So it's more like a Band-Aid effect to have plaque build up so that the blood flows over a smooth surface so that blood clotting doesn't occur. So this whole thing about carbs being bad is one of those, again, those extreme things where the pendulum is swung from people eating excess refined sugars for decades, eating MSG in their refined foods under the guise of natural flavors, eating all these cooked vegetable oils, from their McDonald's French fries to all kinds of like salad dressings with, oxidized vegetable oils in their salad dressings. All these things that are causing this excess body fat on the body. Then they swing the pendulum that they find out, well, yeah, excess carbs is going to cause excess body fat, so we've got to avoid all carbs. It's an extreme thing of going to the extreme opposite, just like we did when we cut out all the cholesterol out of the diet, cut out all the eggs, cut out all the butter. All that stuff was an incorrect, you could say, choice it didn't actually reverse the plaque, and it didn't prevent plaque from building up. And so too, if you go 100% to a ketogenic diet, what can happen is that you can body without the sufficient minerals, and you could probably do a ketogenic diet correctly if you have the sufficient mineral supplementation, vegetable juices, and mineral supplementation. But without it, you're going to create the high salt levels, and this is going to create the salting out and problems later on in most people. So the carbs are needed in balance in the diet, and therefore we put them into the One World Whey in a more balanced form so that the product tastes better, it fulfills a physiological need. The brain literally produces chemicals like serotonin when carbohydrates are present in high enough amounts. That's important. Having enough serotonin makes you feel peaceful, calm, productive. All the things that we want as human beings is to feel balanced and good. The newsletter you've received here also shows you that you can click on a link that shows you basically the difference between organ system and body development of a calf raised on pasteurized milk versus raw milk. And so this is showing you that, when you get truly non-denatured protein with minerals complex with it, how much better your organ systems can function. And take time to look at that link there. So with regards to this Tesla-like energy technology that's used to enhance our One World Whey, it's something to be experienced. And in the natural healing arts field, unless you've got millions of dollars to do studies that can be documented, you can't go on anything else but actual empirical results. Personally, as someone who's gone to people that have done all the studies, and their degrees are based upon these double-blind studies and things, doctors of all different titles and degrees, and having gone to them for my own personal health issues over the years and received no benefit, even though they meant well and tried their best, I did not get the benefits of improving from what I was dealing with. I found that this whole thing of basically God designed us all to basically be able to be self-guided, in that we have our own, amazing computer system, the human nervous system, capable of guiding us to finding our own answers. And that, the whole wonderful wise words that Jesus said, ask and it is given, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be opened, is really true. It's kind of encapsulating what's called the law of attraction, and that we can find the answers. And based upon people's real-world results, One World Whey has generated amazing testimonies, amazing case histories, as evidence that it has unique properties. A combination of inherently excellent whey protein from pasture-raised cows that is, again, non-denatured, that fuels glutathione production. So, as well as the Tesla-like energy enhancement, that those things combined create these great results. And before I go on to talk about the testimonies, I want to say that glutathione represents 60% of your phase 2 liver detoxification. And that also, when you look at each cell of the body, and you've got trillions of cells, under ideal conditions, 10% of your protein content of each cell is supposed to be glutathione. That means that glutathione is really so important that's 10% of your protein's cell content, cytoplasmic content, meaning it's the garbage collector. Taking out the garbage is really important to the cells of your body and your body in general. But because of damage done to our bodies from heavy metals, chemicals, previous drug usage, whatever, that mechanism can be very, very much damaged and inefficient. And so doing anything to support it becomes life-saving in some instances. So consuming a whey protein gives you the sulfur amino acid cysteine. Actually, it's two cysteine molecules bound together. It's called a disulfide compound. But that unique molecule is uniquely able to go into the intestines, go through the intestinal wall, into the bloodstream, into the cells, and then break down into two cysteine molecules, and then fuel glutathione production. It is the rate-limiting amino acid. N-acetylcysteine, in my experience, I've never seen these kinds of results produced with my clients using, or myself, I've never heard these results with people using N-acetylcysteine, though it can raise glutathione based on blood test studies. Nothing has been able to produce these kinds of results in my 25 years of clinical practice with regards to promoting detoxification, as well as One World Whey has. So now, having gone through mercury detox on my own, using other types of protocols in the past, having helped other people with other protocols in the past, having seen the results with clients, I can state hands down emphatically that One World Whey is the most powerful supplement to take to aid in glutathione production to cause whole body detoxification in a healthy, efficient manner and the quickest and shortest period of time, as well as reducing inflammation throughout the rest of the body. When you raise glutathione, you can reduce inflammation throughout the rest of the body and improve liver function. And that's key, because if you want your body to produce glutathione, your intestines must become uninflamed. That's a study you can read in our report where the Nestle company did this study that showed that when the intestinal tract is inflamed, that the rest of the body is signaled to not produce as much glutathione because the intestines are not ready to handle the toxins that might enter in should glutathione be neutralized and come out of the tissues and into the blood, into the liver, and into the intestines. The intestines aren't ready. So we want to get rid of that inflammation to signal the rest of the body to produce glutathione. Well, what better way to do that than to feed your body a non-denatured whey protein that's energetically enhanced, that provides you in abundance nature's richest source of the sulfur amino acid cysteine, but that comes to you in the form of cysteine. It's just an amazing thing. I mean, this has made my job as a practitioner so much easier, and it will make your job as a practitioner or as a health food store owner so much easier to improve quality of life for people, because taking out the garbage is what begins the process of improving health for people, and or keeping it optimized, or increasing energy if someone's free of symptoms but they have only so much energy in a day. The number of people that are taking this and they say all of a sudden, you know, that, like we got our shipping department guy saying, you know, instead of going home and being a couch potato at the end of the day, he's got energy. He goes out for these long walks now. He's got more quality energy for his family. This is really that significant. And he's a young guy. He's 20-something. So for that to happen to him, it means that it's not just about, you know, somebody that's old getting an energy infusion. It's for everybody. And that's another thing. You know, when you carry whey proteins, there's a lot of choices out there. And some of them are claiming things like 25 grams of protein per scoop. But you got to remember that for a whey protein concentrate, and that's the only one you want to work with, isolates are virtually toxic to the body. You have to have a very robustly healthy liver, like a bodybuilder, to tolerate isolates, because they're too denatured. They undergo too much heating, too much going through these filters that concentrate certain proteins, and you remove some of the immune proteins and other beneficial proteins for the body that's in the whey protein concentrate. I won't endorse those isolates ever. The concentrate is the only one you want to work with, which is what One World Whey is. And you can't get 25 grams of protein per scoop virtually for, like, if it's a 30-gram scoop. You need a much bigger scoop. And some companies have been caught doing this, where they'll spike their protein powder with taurine, this free-form amino acid, to show that there's in a nitrogen assay, they can show the actual assay. And you know, we haven't done that. You can see all our products are third-party tested. You can see on our website all the third-party testing results. And you can see the amount of protein, the amount of carbs, and it's about 18 grams per scoop. Some 17 to 18 grams per scoop. And that's all your body, you know, you could take 2 scoops if you're a bigger body type, or if you have more demands on your body, that's fine. But this is a very, very wonderful amount, and your body should thrive on it. The other thing I want to say is that there are other protein powders on the market that have wonderful looking ingredients, and they say that they're non-denatured. But they don't taste good. They taste terrible, in fact. One World Whey actually tastes good. We're working on improving the flavors even more, but it actually tastes good as it is now. It mixes really easily, and it's very enjoyable and very pleasant. So that's good, because you know you're not going to get people, even if it's good for them, if it's a protein powder, they're typically not going to stay on it if it doesn't taste good. And One World Whey is one of the best I've tried. The other one is that we have some very significant personalities, holistic health personalities, taking One World Whey. There is Robert Scott Bell, there is Patrick Timpone, and there is Dr. Asa. Dr. Asa is kind of like a Dr. Oz right now in the radio personality world, as a medical doctor that's basically got a great radio show on at night. I think it's 9 p.m. is when it starts till midnight. And anyways, he works out. He needs some food that is quick and easy, that supports his body and in his daily energy needs as well as in his workout recovery needs. And he loves our One World Way. There are some wonderful testimonies, again, that endorse how effective One World Way is, that are embedded into the email that you've received. Please listen to some of them. Listen to all of them if you want to. These are what inspire me to know that we've got something that's very powerful. And, one of them where the woman's son's lung tumors go away, listen to that one. It's Kelly Morrow Cadena. There's a lot of them that are very good. I thank you for your time and attention. We're here to help you sell One World Way, to improve your clients' quality of life, your customers' quality of life, and to help you profit as well. So until we speak, may success continue to be yours, and may happiness be with you always. Thank you.